Good morning. Welcome to OG Foundation in Elodium. I'm Sovereign Non-Elodium, and this week we're doing like part 2 of these cement reinforcement projects. So I just got another batch on this one, which I'm really happy with how the new shape of it, the new line of this arch, just a lot of working with the stone and the ferro cement and stuff, it's all about geometry, so you can visually tell where things are awry. Plus the cracks tell the stories as well. So it's basically solid all through here, all through there, and pretty much all the way up to there. And then I added lathette to the end, so I'm just starting to get the very last piece of that rebar integrated into the structure. The bottom is already totally in, so that'll take a couple more coats to get that all in, and then otherwise it's just kind of smoothing everything out for this for the shape of it. At some point I'll be getting some more firewood, but other than that, it's doing these other mortar projects, which I will show you in another shot. So this ear I finished last week, which is actually a support for that post there. And then right over here, I've done another project where basically this corner, there was some exposed insulation and some other stuff exposed. So I'm just kind of closing up all of that and getting some more mortar on it. It used to be a place where chickens would come and peck at the insulation. Chickens taking a dirt bath. And got more on over here. I'm sure the chickens will end up walking on that. I said more on, so I got more on over here, this moron. And so this is just about done, this section here. And then I'll start focusing on this section over here next. And get it all kind of smoothed out, packed out, and supported. That one there has very little place to go. I might just add a little more support on the bottom of that one buttress, which is rather top heavy, but this one is super solid. And then at some point I'm going to do this tire wall over here, so I'm going to clean that out, and then I'm going to get some more mortar in that corner as well. So I think that's like 1, 2, 3, sort of 4 different projects, or 3 or 4. And then over here I've gotten quite a bit of mortar on this structure. So it's on average probably like 2.5, 3 inches thick. Pretty solid as far as a buttress. It's really not going anywhere. And I've gotten 3 batches on that wall now. So that's got some real good reinforcement there as well. So this one is actually getting really close to being finished. I probably will just end up putting one more coat on this, and then that project will be done. And I'm not sure if I'm starting any other projects, but that is currently the ambition for the week. Right now the gate is open and all the chickens are roaming. This one right here is Kudo. Once again, life and death. This beautiful girl, Grace, today got claimed by a untrained dog. Ultimately, I'm responsible. And I gotta figure out what to do with the body now. So Grace was one of the oldest girls here. She had come from my grandma. There's 2 more girls, Verona and Gypsy Hawk, alive, who had also come from her. 3, 4 other girls have already died. Mimi, Trinity, Corey, and Penelope. So Verona and Gypsy Hawk being the 2 left, Verona was moved by being able to see the body, and she kind of like pecked at it, trying to get it to move for a while. There she is right there by the gate. And Gypsy Hawk didn't really seem to care. I don't know if she really processed it, but Gypsy Hawk is getting up in age where she would have been the next one to pass naturally. Verona has a bad foot, And at one point, I healed Verona's, or I gave her like she had broken her foot. She got caught in a trap, and then I saved her from that, but her foot was disabled, and then I made a splint for her foot, which there's like an abscess on one of them now, but at one point, anyways, the splint helped the bone heal, and then it's still, it's not fully healed, but she can get around a lot better now than before. Oh, there's Gypsy Hawk. So those are the two old girls, and so I decided that I'm gonna bury Grace next to Lewis. I'm gonna get busy digging a grave. Grace's body is getting deposited here at the lower gate. Lewis was buried at that side of the gate, and now Grace at this side of the gate and at the corner of my property here. One more body deposited into the land of Elodium. Rest in peace, Grace. She's such a good girl. She would often jump on my lap, or like when I'm sitting at the table, she would often jump onto my leg, and she'd always come up and peck at me and say hi. She's the only one who knew how to get onto the roof in the secret spot with the raspberries by the visor. She's just the friendliest and wisest of the chickens with the best demeanor. Innocent and curious, and was rewarded with an early death. Verona, the black one, and then Gypsy Hawk next to her. These are the oldest two girls. I think they're being a little sentimental because they're coming in and crashing Coco's spot, which is their old coop. And they would rather stay in here than in the other coop. So that's where they stayed last night. Well, Gypsy Hawk, I think, stayed in a tree, and then Verona stayed in here, up here. And then Coco and the baby over there. And now the three of them, two old girls, and a mama and a baby. It's Friday morning. The two old girls and Coco and Puff still hanging out in here. And this project here, it's just about done. I'm thinking I might add some more mortar on this base here today. Not entirely sure. But it's solid. I got a bunch more on the top so that it's really well integrated with the pre-existing ferrocement structure. And that one's all done. Then over here, got some more on this part, though. I really need some more like big rocks to really fill this thing out. So that'll probably be a good prep step for me, is to gather a bunch of rocks. And then I got a bunch over here. This is pretty well integrated, but I'm gonna add at least one more batch on this side. And then over here, it is just about done, but I also want to add one more batch over here, at least on part of it there where I got one coat over the tires. Got to get at least 2 coats. And then the rest of this is pretty good. It's all this stone stuff and just kind of integrating it over time. And over time, the idea is to get everything, connecting all these disparate things and getting them all to move as one. There will occasionally be cracks, and it'll show how it's moving somewhat separately. And then by addressing the cracks and reinforcing, then things all get connected and can all kind of be integrated. But that's all for now. I'll show you the other structure in a little bit, or the other project in the garage. Look at this. I think it's a sign from God that I've done my last mortar batch of the year. This thing just like bent. But when did it bend? When did it bend? It bent when I'm pretty much on the last batch of mortar. Well, the last batch of mortar to finish this project. And the other project I'm doing is just the mortar in the courtyard to for the tires. So this was probably the end of the mortar for the whole season, I guess. This is the last one I'm gonna do, which is kind of hard to imagine, or at least for a while. I'll have to get this fixed somehow. But I worked the machine to exhaustion and the machine broke. Here I am. Oh, and also note, it's all fully mixed. So it didn't do it like mid-batch or something. It's all fully mixed. So I can use that batch. It'll be tricky to clean it out, but I'll be able to clean it out. And then move on from mortar. This will be the last mortar batch for potentially the whole season. And as soon as I've got more wood here, as soon as I finish this batch of mortar on the arch, move that stuff out of there, we're going to start stacking the wood right up against the wall. So I got a finished coat with that last batch of mortar. That's as good as it's going to get. Pretty smooth. And got this all like pretty well integrated and supported. And because there was already kind of like a bend in the ceiling there where I added this, I put the rebar right into that bend, so it actually kind of looks even smoother than when I started without having added the whole reinforcement project. And it's got a double, kind of like a double angle. Most of it's pretty darn smooth. So that's finished. This thing, I'm gonna see if I can maybe take that to a metal shop to get them to fix that, or get someone who can do that to help me. So this is all done. I'm going to clear this out, and now I can stack wood here. I've got the first load ready, and I think I'm going to get a bunch of firewood today before I get into the next big project. Getting the wood stack going. Got it almost up to the roof in the tunnel area, and then working my way back. This will be more for next winter. I'll go through all of this first, and then I'll get on to this stuff, which I've got this year later on, so it has more time to dry. But yeah, today and tomorrow I'm just gonna get some more firewood, I think. Look at these silly chickens on the roof. What are you chickens doing over there? Oh, these chickens just hanging out on the roof. Look at this. What's going on here? I got this kind of scaffolding going on. I got a beam type thing there. And a 2x4 from here to there. And I'm working on figuring out how to put a roof over this whole water feature and semi-insulate it so that I can keep water in there through the winter, which seems like a dangerous idea, but I want to try it. So I'm going for it. So I got a cross beam up. That's a LVL. All of this lumber here is all this salvage lumber I got from that job site. So the LVL, it's not like square with this, and therefore it's at an angle going down on the left because it's closer to the roof over there. But it should be in line with the plane of this roof in order to extend this roof out over roughly the angle where the 2x4s are. And so I'm thinking I'll just be able to secure it like that and keep the LVL in place like that center beam thing, and then kind of shape the rest around that. I guess that's how it's kind of looking for now. Very unconventional, and yet seems like it'll work. I'll just have to cut the top of that 2x10 there off so that the tin can go over it, and then run some more beams, and then I'll probably have to support them somehow, because I don't think this is like too long of a span for a 2x4, I'm pretty sure. Or if I use 2x4s, I'll probably have to put them really close together, like one every foot or something. Yeah, but if I do that, it'll be fine. So that'll be the goal, probably. I'll just get more 2x4s and get some tin, maybe do that tomorrow. We'll see. Look at this mess those chickens made. Naughty chickens on the roof, making a mess of everything. So I got some more materials, mostly 16-foot 2x4s and the roofing material, so that I can frame out and get a roof on that, and hopefully I can do that today. I don't think that that beam board, that LVL beam board, it's like many different layers of things glued together, and I don't think it's supposed to get wet. I'm not totally sure, but the sooner I can cover all of this up, the better. So it's around the end of the day, Monday. Arthur's up in the tree, and this is the last video of the week. Coco stayed in the coop with all the other chickens for the first time last night, along with Puff. This is the final coat on this whole section. It doesn't look super pretty, but it is a very effective buttress to prevent the tire wall from collapsing. And over here I got a number of big rocks to add into that one, but I would need more mortar to really fill out some of the holes around them to make those last few rocks really an effective part of the buttress for that corner area. But that's probably all I'm gonna do for this. There's butterscotch. For this year for the mortar. And show you as far as I got in the other project. So I got those materials. What I didn't mention is I also, on the way back from the supply trip, once again, I scored another few materials. So I've started to get the 2x up. They're the 16-foot 2x, and I've started to put the battens, I think they're called, on. So there's 8 pieces of roofing. We'll see if I can get all of them up there. I'll probably have to cut some, and I still have to cut that cross beam. But so this was really complicated. It was that corner beam, which then goes to this, using those 2 pieces of lumber. That was basically the big solution to solve it. And as you can see, it's at an angle coming down so that the 2x4s cross it at a different point. Like here you get most of the span of the 2x4, and then there it's almost splitting the 2x4 span in half. And so I'm putting them 1 foot on center because there's such a long span in the places, and it's a shallow roof. And same with the battens, I think they're called. And then, so this is kind of like the first step to enclosing this whole water feature area, which I want to not only enclose it, but kind of insulate the area as well to minimize the freezing of the water feature. So I'm gonna get this roof on. I'm liking how it's looking so far, but that's the end for this week. And next week I'll be focusing all on this project, closing it up as much as I can. Oh yeah, let me show you the other things I got from the supply trip. So there was, I guess they had a yard sale yesterday, but they still had the stuff. So I got these 2 nice windows, which open and close and are double paned and insulated. I got the pair of them for $51. Haggled with the guy. So that's a great price for those windows, and I might be integrating them into that into the new room. But that's all for this week. Thanks for tuning in.